So now I'm gonna teach one trick. I'm gonna teach a lot of tricks, but this trick in particular, you have to get prepared for. Now, prep in Magic is basically, so you're in control the entire time. The spectator just watches you work. They don't have to pick a card, they don't have to do anything, they just have to watch and be entertained. So I'm going to demonstrate the trick, and then after I'll teach, and hopefully you'll be able to follow along. So this trick is called the elevator. So basically what I'm going to do with these three cards is I'm going to have an elevator. So the first card is the Ace of Diamonds. So I'm going to put that ace right here. The next card I have is the Two of Diamonds. Put it back, place it right here. The last card finally is the Three of Diamonds. Now I'm going to put that Three of Diamonds back on top of the deck, and we're going to move it to the bottom. Right? And after that, here's where the elevator comes in. There's a top and the bottom button. So I'll have the spectator press the top button. So they'll press that, you snap, and that card goes to the top. Right? So let's say the Two of Diamonds next. Right? We put it on top, so now it wants to go all the way down to the bottom. Right? Flip it over, there's a 2, and went down to the bottom. Now you see these cards, they're getting a little bored. Instead of using the elevator, they want to teleport. So now the Ace of Diamonds is going to go on here, and it's going to go from here to here. Ready? And that's the trick. With this trick, that's why you don't want the spectator to follow along. So they know where the cards are going each and every time. And now I will teach you how to perform that trick. So like I said before, that trick needs preparation. I had shown you 3 cards only, but this trick requires 4 cards. So you'll need, I prefer using the red, so you can use the hearts, you can use whatever. You'll need the ace, the 2, and let's see if we can find it, 3 hearts. And then you need one other card. I like a high number black suit card. You don't use black to differentiate from the reds. So for this example, we use the 7. And we'll use the blue deck because we already used the red one. So with this is what we used before, which is the double lift. Now with the double lift, that's how they did in the beginning. So it doesn't really matter the order as long as it's either 1, 2, 3 or 3, 2, 1. It's up to you. But we're gonna have that black suit card behind either the ace or the 3. And you're gonna have a stack like this. So for the example, we'll put the 3 first. And how I have the cards in front of you, right, they look like this, stacked on top of each other. And before I started the video, I made sure that only looked like 3 cards there. But you could, let's say you're doing this in public or out for friends or family or whatever, and you want to do the trick. An easy way to do it is to hold the cards like this, so you can only see the 3 cards and not the 4 that are actually there. Because with this trick, they can watch you prep it. You just have to be kind of sneaky about it, so they don't see you get that extra black suit card. And then from there is when the trick becomes a little bit easier. Cause this, honestly, you just need to know the double lift. So the first thing I do is I double lift the first 2 cards on top that were right here. I double lift the 3, the 7's in the back. So I show you the 3. And then I put down the top card. So that would be the 7. So I show you the 3, I put down the top card. And then I double lift again. So, in double lift, so you see the 2. I put it back in the hand, and then drag the top card. And then finally, I do the last, you don't really need, it's not really a double lift because you just pick up the 2 cards and then I show you the last card that's there. Now from there, you just put it back right on top of the deck, and basically the trick does itself. And then you move the ace, which is the top card, to the bottom, and you'll say it wants to go up, right? But since we did that double, you're not moving the ace to the bottom. The ace is staying right here, but you're just prepping the next card that you're going to be moving to the bottom. So they'll press up, you'll snap just for effect, and then you'll see the ace there. Now that we've already prepped the 2 on the bottom, right, we pick up our next card, and then we say it wants to go down, press down, snap for effect again, and then that's where the 2 is already. And as we did, we loaded that next card to the top of the deck. So this is just, this is just for effect purpose. You always want to pick up and know which is the top and the bottom. So for example, the top is going to be in my right hand. So I'm going to put the top right here, and that's where our final card is going to be. And for this one, we're just going to put it on the bottom half of the packet and just put it down. It doesn't matter really how far it is, just far enough for you to reach. And then you'll say, hey, the cards don't want to use the elevator, they want to teleport instead this time. And since we already loaded that card, we're going to just flip them over at the same time, be like, the card is going, since we put the card right here, we're going to say the card wants to teleport from here to here. And instead of doing one at a time, we're going to flip them at the same time just for that extra like little effect. And then you're just going to snap, quick snap for effect, and then flip them both over. So it looks like the 3 had teleported from here to here. So that's a very simple, very easy, very effective preparation trick. Usually when a spectator says do it again, because they want to look closer or something, you already know how to do it, so you can do it no matter what. You just need to make sure you prep correctly and try to load the cards kind of secretly. Well, not secretly, but like they could see you pull out like the reds and whatever. But just be careful when you put the black suit behind them all. So that's a pretty easy prep one. So now we learned a little bit about prepping the deck. I'm gonna teach you what a force is. Now what a force is basically you already know the card. So for example, for this example, we use the Jack of Diamonds. This is on top. So what's gonna happen is I'm gonna cut it down, and let's say I do tell me when to stop. I'll just drop the cards, whatever, and they'll say stop eventually. No matter where they're gonna stop, since I have the break on where my card is, I'm just gonna show them that their card is that. There's a lot of tricks you can do with that. It's pretty easy. Once you get some practice down to know where it is, and there's a lot of tricks you can do with it. So like the easiest one I said was like a pick a card, since you already know what their card is. So since you already have that force, from there you can either just give them the card, because it looked like you cut the deck, you shuffled or whatever. There's no way you can know what that card you moved is, or you could kind of like dribble the cards on top of where that force is, and then they'll tell you when to stop, and then you'll just flip them no matter where to that card. You just gotta be careful when you drop them, because what I did there is I dropped and I didn't pick up my card because I had a bad break, as we learned before. Just be careful. You can perform a lot of pick cards, like I said. There's some other more, let's say, advanced tricks you could do. You could do predictions with that. So like you can write down on like your phone or like a piece of paper, your prediction, what your prediction will be the force card. So there's a bunch of different things you can do. Get creative, you know, try to make something up if you can, but like I said, easiest thing to do, force into a pick a card, force into a prediction. As long as you have everything prepped, so like the trick before, that was prepped with the force. Usually they're prepped. You can do like a force, so like let's say you shuffle the deck or whatever, and you just look, and then let's say we use the 8, we just control that to the top like we did there with that little flip, so it's going to be there to the top, and you force it to the bottom like it did there, and then, you know, drop whatever and then pick it up at the end. So you basically just, you know, the card, have it prepped, or you can have a force card that you like already, like let's say you like the Ace of Hearts, that'll always be your force. So you'll always be able to find that card and then force it to wherever you want, and then do whatever you need with it. Okay, now that we learned some other tricks, now I'm going to teach you a very effective but pretty simple pick a card trick. It looks a lot harder than it is, but it's honestly super easy. And it's going to use some of the things you've learned, but as long as that's in practice, this trick can be done no problem. So the first step, of course, is having the spectator pick a card. We're going to go ahead and use this one. Hopefully you can see it. Okay, now that you have that card, you're going to return it back, or the spectator is going to turn it back, excuse me, and then I'm going to get a loss in the deck. I'm just going to give it a quick shuffle. Give it one more just for good measure. You can shuffle it as many times as you want. Doesn't really matter. You'll learn why in a second. And then just for effect, it'll be like, I can hear your card, you move it up to your ear or whatever, or just do this. And then from this point, I'll be like, hey, I think your card is somewhere in the top half. So I'll cut it in half, leave the bottom half there. From there, I'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards. Pick up these 5. Do you see your card? Typically, if you've done this right, they'll say yes. Okay, I'm gonna get those cards. I'm just gonna put them right here. And again, I'm gonna count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards. We're done with these. I'll put them right here. So from that point, the spectator, or the performer, me, will give the spectator this packet of cards. And I'll put them under my phone for effect. Usually put them in the hand. Let's say this blue card. You put it in the hand like this, you tell them to close it. And then you say, I can't get to that anymore, but I'm gonna move your card from that 5 stack into this deck. Snap my fingers. We'll count 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we'll see that that card is there. So now that you saw the performance, I'm going to teach you how it's done. Like I said, it's really simple. This should take only a little bit of practice to learn. You just have to be careful with your movements. So first, of course, is the spectator chooses a card. Again, it doesn't matter. For example, we'll use the 4 of clubs. Now, the most important part is that the spectator doesn't put it back on top or anywhere in the deck, is they give you back the card. Because what you're gonna do in the back of the deck, let me show you from the side here, is you're gonna put it in to the back and then press down on the card. You see how when you press down, it lifts the deck up a little bit? And then you're gonna push, and hold with your thumb. That creates the break. So once you have that break, you put your pinky there, back where the break was that we made, and then you'll say, okay, I'll mix up the cards and get your card lost. But what you're gonna do is hold the break, cut half of the break from the bottom, put that on top, and then finish the rest, and then put it on top. And so their card's always gonna be on the top. Now from there is when I riffle shuffled. Now, like you learned earlier, you can control using the riffle and keep their card on the top. So as long as you have a couple cards or whatever on the right side, because the right side, at least for me, is the top, you can control their card to the top always. So from there is when I did the hearing thing. That's just, I guess, just adding a little something. You don't need to do it, but it gives it more of a believability to why you know the card is on the top half. So I'd be like, hey, I hear the cards. I hear that your card is on the top half of the deck. So then I'll split the deck in half. This is important. And I'll put the bottom half onto the side. But keep it close to you, enough so you can reach it easy. But not super close, because you know, you can do a lot of sneaky things. And then from there you'll count, make sure you count from top to bottom. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Their card should always be that first one right here. If it's not, you've done it wrong. But you don't want them to be like, I ask you, hey, is your card here? You don't want them to point, you just want them to say yes. And then from there, you get those 5, and then you put it on top of the top half of the deck. Make sure you pick up the cards and you hold them like this. I have decently sized hands, so I'm able to just use my thumb and my middle finger, but you can do up to these. I don't suggest doing this because you cover everything, but you can hold them like this so you can still see everything. And from there, this is where the sneaky thing comes in, is you'll count the 5 cards. So you start off with 1, you go over here, and then from here you use the tips of these fingers to grab their card. So again, I'll show you fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But their card's right here, as you can see right there. So I'll show you again, because this is the really sneaky part. This is the part you don't want to mess up on. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But only have the 4 cards because their card is right there. So when you bring it out, use your thumb, grab it around the middle so you can slide it, hold it in your hand, come around, grab it with your middle and thumb, the parts that are sticking out, grab it from the bottom, and then at the same time you're grabbing it from the bottom, you want to pull out the other card so it looks like it's right behind it. And then you just do the same thing with the rest. So it looks like you counted 5 cards, but you're only giving them 4. So again, I'll do it one more time. I'll do it fast. So go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And usually they're busy watching you count or busy doing anything. So even if you mess up grabbing the card while you're counting, you can just square it up and fix it again. So at this point, you'll put that half on top of here. And the way you grab the cards, their card should be the only one facing up. So that part of the trick is done. So that reveal is set. But to add things to it, I would say, so I'm going to give you these 5 cards. You want to emphasize that there's 5 in them so they can be surprised when there isn't. Is I'm going to give you these 5 cards. You're going to hold it in your hand, and then you're going to cover them. So I can't get to those 5 cards anymore. And then from there, you'd be like, I'm going to get your card from that 5 stack into the deck. And then you'll snap, and you'll say, count how many cards are in your hand. They'll only count 4. They're going to be surprised. And then the reveal, you can do one of these, and they'll see that their card is the only card sticking up. And that is how you perform, at least my favorite pick a card trick. So now, I'm going to teach another pick a card trick, but this one involves mind reading. So first step first is a spectator would pick a card. For example, we'll use this one. And then from there, I would say, okay, I'm gonna drop the cards like this. Spectator told me to stop. Do it one more time. They'll say stop, they'll say right there. Oh, excuse me. And they'll put their card in that spot. So from there, I'll be like, okay, just so you know, the deck, there's no order, there's no nothing. Everything is all completely random. And then from there, you could shuffle, or the spectator could shuffle. Usually I give it to the spectator if they know how. So again, nothing's weird, nothing is wrong. So from here, let's say the spectator would shuffle, quick overhands, or they can do some riffles. Honestly, it doesn't matter. They can do whatever they want to the deck. And then once they're ready, they'll give it back. Or if you're shuffling, then make sure it's a good mix. And from there, we'll do the same thing. Just spread them out in front. And then you'll tell them to look for their card. Right? But once they find their card, they don't point. Just say, okay, this is where I read your mind. Okay, so from right here, I'm gonna hold my finger over the cards and go across, and in your head say stop around where your card is. Same way back. Okay, I feel like your card is somewhere around this area. So I'm gonna pull out just a few cards. Hopefully you can still see. And then we're done with the deck. Okay, now I'm gonna do the same thing. Say stop in your head, but not aloud. Okay. Okay. This is your card. And that's the trick. So now that you know how the trick is done, I'm going to show you how to do it. So, like the last one, this is a pretty easy pick a card trick. They can choose any card they want, doesn't really matter, because you're in control the entire time. It's called a mind reading trick, because there's not a lot of movements that you do. You don't really even need to say that much. It's just mind reading because I guess the effect, a lot of people like hearing that, they're getting their mind read or whatever. So the way this is done, first up, of course, they pick a card. For this example, we use the 8 of diamonds. And from there, obviously there's only one thing you really need to do, and that is when you drop the cards. I drop them like this. I hold them thumb in the back, these holding this, and then I have my index finger pressing the side of the cards. Well, you can see that, just so like I can bend the cards and then like kind of riffle them down. You can drop them any way you want. There's not really a right way, wrong way to do it. I just do it like this. There is only one thing you need to make sure of, is that when you drop the cards, hopefully you can see on the camera, is the back is pointing to you. So when you drop the cards, you can see the bottoms because the back is being bent towards you. So for example, you can see the 10 from the back, and then you drop, and then you can see the rest. So the reason that's important is because you have to know that card. So let's say I start dropping, and then they say stop right here. You pick up these, and they say stop. If they were to say stop right there, right? Let's say that's when they say stop, whatever. Your card is that card before the drop. So when you're dropping like this, your card is that last one. So in that case, my card is the King of Diamonds. So I'm going to be looking for the King of Diamonds. But their card is going to go right on top of the deck. And the King of Diamonds is going to be on top of their card. So now that's there. You don't want to spread out the deck, right? And you want to, separate them a little bit so you could take a better look at the cards. And this is where I said, you can look at the deck. There's no order. There's no secrets, no nothing. Everything is completely random, right? But at this point, you're looking for your card, which is the case, the King of Diamonds, right? Because their card is going to be the one immediately after. Like we said before, the 8 of Diamonds was their card. So from there, you know their card. So their card is always going to be the 8 of Diamonds. It won't be in the same order because, of course, at this point, if the spectator knows how to shuffle, you give them the deck, they can shuffle. As long as you remember the 8 of Diamonds or whatever the selected card is there after yours. So in this case, we know that the spectator's card was the 8, of Diamonds. So from there, we'll do quick shuffles. Slosh, but let's do another one real quick. Okay. So again, we're looking for the 8 of Diamonds. You want to spread them out so not only they can see all the cards, but so you can see all the cards. Because at this point, they're looking. You tell them. It's kind of messy, but that's fine. It doesn't really matter. At this point, you tell them, okay, find your card, but don't point at it. Don't say it out loud. Because at this point, you're also looking for their card. And this is where the mind reading comes into play. Because now, you say, okay, I'm going to wave my hand or your finger, doesn't matter. For the long stack, using your hand is good, so you can get a pretty big surface area over the cards, so you can get that stack later. So you'd be like, okay, I'm gonna wave my hand from one side to the other, and when I'm over your card, you'll stop in your head. That's where the mind reading comes in. So then you start doing it, you kind of slow down a little bit where it is, and you keep going, and you say, okay, I'm gonna go back, same thing. Okay, I think your card is around a good number is between like 5 and 8 cards. It all depends on you, what you want to do. But usually you want their card to be around the middle. You don't want it to be on the edge. So from there, I'll move these so you can see it better. So around here is when you do the finger. So you'd be like, okay, do the same thing, do something with my finger. Still, you're gonna go back and forth. So start over here. Okay, right, the old stop in their head. Come back, and you select their card. Like I said, really easy. Pretty effective because mind reading is like this mystical thing. So yeah, those are 2 pretty easy but pretty effective pick a card magic tricks.